There has been an exponential increase in new cases of eating disorders, especially in teens, and that is the topic of today's Peace of Mind segment, where we focus on mental health issues. And joining us this morning is Dr. Angela Guarda, an eating disorder specialist at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
What's accounting for the increase?
Well, we don't know exactly, but we have a fair idea. We know that eating disorders have a genetic predisposition, so some people are more vulnerable than others. But we also know that a number of factors precipitate its onset, and one of the big ones is stress. And clearly, we've all been through a lot of stress in the past year. Another is uncertainty and anxiety, as well as increased depression. And we know that in the setting of the pandemic, anxiety and depression have increased significantly in teens. So what the problem with eating disorders is that there's a genetic vulnerability, there's a predisposing, precipitating stressor, but then the disorder, the more you engage in the associated behaviors, whether they're on the restriction end of things or the disinhibited eating end of things, the more compulsive and driven they become. They, so to speak, take on a life of their own, much like addiction does.
And so are you finding that there are some different groups or different categories when it comes to this? The stress and anxiety induced eating disorders, where the brain starts to have an impact on the stomach and so on and so forth. And then others who then become truly motivated by maybe the weight loss itself, and that creates then a subset of problems.
You know, I think it's a combination in most cases of both. We know that, for instance, in starvation, the starved state increases preoccupation with food, and it also, surprisingly, in exercisers, increases drive to exercise. We also know that binging or vomiting cause physiological changes that then make it easier to continue doing these things. But in some ways, eating disorders are also disorders of learning. So they involve habit and what we call conditioning. So in some ways, when you have once an eating disorder becomes chronic, you engage in the behaviors more because you did them yesterday than for the reasons that they may have started. For instance, in anorexia, when patients are very, very underweight, they know that they're too thin, but they find themselves unable to start gaining weight. So it's not just fear of fatness. It's actually also physiological and brain changes, as you point out, and disturbances in gut-brain messaging that sustain the behaviors.
So what role does social media play in all of this? Because so many people were basically, you know, the social media became their lives during the pandemic. And so what has that done?
Yeah, that is a very important question. And it appears that social media likely escalates these disorders in the sense that the web feeds you what you look at. And therefore, the more you look at dieting or eating disorder or exercise related content, or even food related content, the more of that material the web gives you. And therefore, you know, it's been described as an echo chamber or creates tunnel vision. In that sense, it acts like peer pressure. And one of the problems in the pandemic is that peer pressure can certainly influence negative or addictive behaviors like eating disorders or addiction. But it's also, peer pressure can be a reality check, because when you're in school, for instance, there are people doing different things. Whereas with social media, you can surround yourself only with the same content. The other problem with social media, of course, that we're all aware of, is that it tends to portray idealized images, and that even amongst peer groups, teens are touching up and only posting their best pictures, which can reinforce feelings of insecurity about body image in any one individual, especially those vulnerable to body image concerns.
Oh, absolutely. So talk to us about some of the real physical and mental effects that can happen when you start to shut down your body through restricting food or that binging and vomiting.
Sure. Well, We know that in starvation, the body tries to conserve energy. So it starts shutting down resources that it doesn't currently need. For instance, women or girls lose their periods because in starvation, sustaining a pregnancy doesn't make sense. They also develop low body temperature, slowed heart rate, and slowed gastrointestinal transit, which is a problem because they feel full easier, even eating less food. And they may become constipated, and therefore that makes it harder to keep eating. In individuals who vomit or who purge, the more you vomit, the easier it is to do so, in the sense that most individuals I see with advanced bulimia, for instance, they no longer have to induce a gag to throw up. They could just bring the food up. So
Right.
there is a change in the motility. There's a dysmotility problem in the GI tract that makes it easier to either continue starving or continue binging or vomiting.
So if someone's watching this and they're experiencing this themselves, or you know someone who is, how can they get help?
Well, there's a lot of positive resources on the internet as well as negative ones. So
Sure.
certainly looking at recovery websites is helpful. For families, there's a resource called Feast, which provides a lot of information and tools for parents. And in terms of getting help, certainly reaching out to professionals is important with experience in treatment of eating disorders. Because of the increase you mentioned at the start of our talk, it is hard sometimes to access care, but we know that treatment works, and it works best early on in the disorder. So certainly getting into professional care early makes sense.
All right, Dr. Guarda, I wish we had more time to continue this conversation, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.